Speaker's Corner aboard the Villa Vie Odyssey, hosted by Cassingham.
All right, I'm back. Speaker's Corner is going to be slightly different, and it's going to interest every one of you, and maybe interest your pocket. I think I have your attention now. Yeah.
Pocketbook.
And where do you keep your money? Pocketbook? Lots of helpful people here tonight. This is the 90th Speaker's Corner.
Wow!
I was really surprised when I checked that out. Like, oh, that's good. So I can't wait till we have 180th. And I have a couple of openings in October for those of you who have interesting stories to tell. All right, as you can tell by the title, this is a very technical talk. Randy will explain ton to you later. You may know that Randy is a writer and publisher. When I started dating him, my dad asked me how he supported himself because Dad knew that he gave his newsletter away. And I think my dad thought Randy was selling drugs, but no, he wasn't. Randy announced that he's a professional smartass and he gets paid for that. So I think you may get some of that tonight.
No.
No?
We'll see.
Okay. He had years of, he had to learn the technology that he's using so he could be successful at what he does. He succeeded. We're here, right? Yeah.
And therefore we're here.
And yes. So he has managed our technology for decades, both on the computer and on our phones. He's bringing that knowledge to you tonight. Help me welcome Randy Cassingham to share how to save a ton of bandwidth.
With the caveat being, bandwidth is not actually measured by the ton. So good evening. Before we begin, there's one thing to keep in mind. I can't possibly answer every question, or especially if you use something different, but I'm going to give you some basics that you can apply. The other thing is, I'm a Windows Android guy, so I don't really know all that much more. And, what's the number one smartphone? Android.
Worldwide.
Worldwide. But it'll apply generally, and for specifics, do what the Google lady tells you. Google it. And I'll give you an example later on. So how much do each of us use? That's the question. How do you know you are using quote unquote too much? If you have no idea how much you use, how do you figure out if you're using less? So it's really easy on Windows. I don't know about the Mac world for this, but let me show you how easy it is. It's harder on Android. It takes an app to see what it's all using. And of course the same thing. And how easy is it on Windows? Well, this is my Windows setup. Just go to Start, hit Setup, or Settings, and you'll notice over here it says Network and Internet. And if you click on that, look what pops up in the upper right. It says data usage, and you probably can't read this because it's small and blurry. It says 88.71 gigabytes in the last 30 days from my computer. And that's even with me doing things like uploading videos, because that's part of what I do. A lot of Facebook stuff, because I've got a whole bunch of followers there that I have to keep satisfied with some kind of amusing stuff. So 88.71, and the thing is that what I have heard, I haven't heard it officially yet, is that we're going to be allocated 50 gigabytes per person per month.
I don't think so.
And I'm already using 88.71 on that computer. And then I have this other computer called a smartphone that takes more. That sounds scary. So we have to figure out what we're going to do about it. So if you also click on the network and internet, you'll see There's actually, it's all down off the bottom here. There's another way to get in also, but if you click on that, it will actually show you what is using that data. And that varies, surprisingly for me, number one for me is Proton VPN with 38 gigs. The system itself in doing Windows updates is using 8 in the last 30 days. Chrome, when I'm not using Proton, is another couple of gigs. OneDrive, because that's my primary backup for the most critical files, is only 1.5 gigs. Microsoft Edge, I use that for some purposes, less than a gig. OpenVPN is part of Proton. I don't know why it's splitting it out like that, but, and then a third browser, Brave, that I use for still other tasks. And Brave is programmed to go around the VPN, not to use the VPN. So, and this keeps on going down and down, down, down until there's like 50 different things that use less than a gig. So the question is, how much is a gig really? It's 1,024 megabytes, and a typical picture that your smartphone takes, if you do it in full resolution, and actually on my smartphone it's about 24 megs of data. The newer smartphones are actually making them even bigger if you have it set for full resolution. So you can use up a gig pretty quickly that way. And according to Mary, just the other day, said that the LTE chip she was using for a backup was costing $2.20 a gig, which was a little more than half, or a little more than double of what it costs on Starlink. So every gig we use is costing the ship a little over $1. So you can see why they're interested in us cutting down our data. So for an example, so I let my computer sit when I went to lunch. I restarted the VPN so that all the data that went in and out went through the VPN. And when you first start the VPN, it starts a counter with how much data you're using at 0. So I got back to my office an hour and 45 minutes later and immediately looked at how much data I'd used while I wasn't using the computer. It was just sitting there still connected to the internet. And in an hour and 45 minutes, it used 112 megs, which is 64 megs an hour, or 1.536 gigabytes a day. So a little over $1.50 per day, just sitting there doing nothing. And somebody do the math. With 1.5 times 30, that's most of your allocation without even using your computer. So probably not a good idea to leave your computer on all the time, but if you do, what I do, oh wait a minute. So something to consider, if every one of the 350-ish residents and every one of the 250-ish crew saved just 1 gig of data per day, and I think we can do that, then VBR as a company would save $18,000 a month, more than $216,000 a year. So we're not talking peanuts here. That's why they're so interested in us not using so much. So here's how I don't add to that, because I leave my computer sitting there all the time. Like I go to lunch and I go to dinner. Sometimes I go ashore, believe it or not. And I usually don't turn my computer off until the end of the day. So how do I keep from burning up internet? I got this little tiny app, and it's called a portable app, in that you don't have to install it. It's just a self-contained little program. It's free, and it's got this button here, disable internet and enable internet, and it uses 4 different methods to disconnect you from the internet so your computer cannot use it. This is a Windows program, and if it's showing up here, it's enabled. So when I go to lunch or whatever, I click disable internet, and I can walk away knowing my computer will not use any data. So that's the first way that I use to try to save data.
What's it called?
It's called, it's really tiny, you can't read it. It's called Net Disabler, and you can get it at sordom.org. This guy is a programmer who puts out all these neat little utilities that do different things, and this is one of them. I'm not sure how he makes his money or if he's independently wealthy or what. Some of his stuff is for sale, but most of his utilities are tiny little things that do one little task like that. sordum.org. And I don't know if there's something like that for Macs or not, but you know it exists, at least for Windows. So how much data does streaming use? This is what everybody's always asking about because they want to stream some stuff. Regular standard definition television is somewhere between 0.7 gigabytes to 1 gigabyte per hour. If you kick up to HD, it goes up pretty fast. Now we're talking about 1.5 gigabytes to 3 per hour. And if you do 4K, 7 to 10 gigabytes or more, depending on the source, per hour. Can our TVs really show you anything more clear at 4K than standard high definition? No. And most of the time when I'm looking at video, I'm actually on YouTube on my phone. I'm lying in bed watching my favorite internet chef, YouTube chef, making something delicious that I can't have. So I actually set mine to 4K, to 480K resolution, which is the smallest it'll go. And I don't notice any difference at all. Music streaming uses a lot less data. Video, of course, uses a ton. Audio, not that much. About 30 megabytes per hour for standard quality to around 150 for very high quality. Resolution, bitrate, streaming duration, primary drivers. And so the other question is, well, if I have like a downloaded video, or if I downloaded all the MP3s of all my songs that are resident on my phone or on my computer, how much data does that take? And the good news is none. So also devices. I've heard of all of these things being on the ship. This one down here is Google Chromecast. Their logo isn't easy to see. How do you deal with those? The device itself probably doesn't have a setting for how much data it uses or the resolution of the video that you're streaming. And these, that's the Amazon Echo device and the Google Nest device. I have seen one of these on in an office running 24/7. How much data does that use? I have no idea. But if I had one in my office, I would put it on a power switch. If I really wanted it while I was there, great. There's no need for it to run when I'm not there. And especially if it's showing pictures, it's downloading those pictures as it changes. It does not download them once and have, gigabytes of pictures on there that it cycles through. It just dumps the picture, loads the next one, dumps the picture, loads the next one. So an example of Netflix you can watch on Roku, on any of those streaming devices. How do you make that be a lower resolution so you can save data? This is something that you need to Google, depending on your device and your service. So for Netflix, for instance, I just quickly Googled set streaming rate on Netflix. So it'll tell you, while you're looking for changing a web browser, if you're watching on your computer, are you meaning on your Android phone or iPad? And I think down below here, it talked about Roku and all that stuff. So you can log into your streaming company like Netflix, and I think you can set there what the resolution is when it's down. I personally go for the lowest, and here's how I did it on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, there's a little gear icon right here. If you don't see this menu bar, just put your cursor anywhere in this box, and this will pop up. So here's how you turn on and off closed captions. Here's this little settings icon. I clicked that and this popped up. And I know you can't read this, but the bottom one says quality, automatic 480. Even I can't read it. 480p, which means progressive. That's the kind of encoding it's using. So that's how I have that set both on my computer and my phone. And I do not notice any quality difference whatsoever, because especially on my phone, it's really tiny. So then there's apps. All of our phones have miscellaneous apps. I recommend that you go through your apps every couple of months and to see what's on there. If you don't know what it is, you probably don't use it. Yet, those apps are getting updates all the time. Your phone is downloading those updates for an app that you don't use. So on my phone, I tell the Google Play Store to not automatically update apps. When I go ashore to go through immigration, I see if they have Wi-Fi in that terminal. Most of the time they do. I quick connect to it, I go and say, update all apps, and then put it in my pocket. And sometimes it actually finishes before I get back in the ship or leave the terminal. Not always. But that's just one way you can do it. It's a little bit anal, I absolutely admit that. But that's what I do. So these are some specific apps. Do you know these? I know you do.
Yeah,
You probably know every one of them. They are Dropbox, Google Photos, Amazon Photos, OneDrive, iCloud Photos, and Samsung Cloud. And boy, these just do not look appealing, do they? I mean, I just think that's a really terrible icon. They want to be cloudy. So every one of these, Dropbox, Google Photos, Amazon, OneDrive, iCloud, and Samsung, all urge you to use them to back up all of your photos. And remember what I said earlier, full resolution photo is about 24 megabytes. So this could be your biggest data saver, at least on your phone. You have to decide which one of those you really want your photos to automatically back up to. And I know there is at least one person in this room who said, oh, pick them all. That way you have extra backups. You're doing that at a cost. And if you're going to do that and they start to charge for it, you're going to be paying at least $1 a gig for your extra bandwidth to do it. Well, that's an interesting... So, Google Photos. I opened it up to take a screenshot. What popped up? Hey, let's back up your photos and videos. And it was clicked on by default. And if I had clicked this button down here, it would have suddenly started backing up all my photos. What's this over here? This is the Google. So when you click on your face up here in the corner, that opens your settings. First thing it says, turn on backup. Backup is off. Turn it on. And it's showing that even though I pay $20 a year to get 100 gigabytes of storage on Google, it's already, even without my pictures backed up, 80% full. So if I said, oh sure, back up my phone, all of a sudden my data storage limit is at the top. And guess what I have to do? Google will tell me, either you pay more to get more, or we're going to start deleting your photos. So the backup is not necessarily a backup, and I'm already paying $20 a year, which is, that's cheap. It's not bad. But do you know what the next level is?
And 30.
30?
Yeah.
$30? No.
For 200 gigabytes.
For 200.
Yeah.
$30 for 200.
Yeah.
And if you want to do a lot, then it keeps on going up. So the other ones, Dropbox. As soon as I open Dropbox, back up your photos instantly. Turn it on. OneDrive, I have that also. camera backup is off, turn it on. All of these urge you to use them. Well, yeah, that's how they make money. OneDrive is the one I use the most. I don't pay for Dropbox, I'm just on a free plan. So I wouldn't use it anyway. But if I was going to use one, I would use OneDrive because I pay for Microsoft Office 365, which gives you 5 seats of using all of their software, and every one of those seats gets a terabyte of cloud backup. So if you're going to use one, that's probably the one to use, in my opinion. But you really need to be judicious about it. You don't want to just turn all these things on, because as soon as you get back on the ship after being on a great excursion where you took 100 photos, it's not going to upload 100 photos. It's going to upload 100 photos to every one of those you have turned on. That's a lot of data. So I think this is the biggest number one thing we can do to cut down our data use. So, check all 4 of these and any others you have. There's also, the Samsung version, the iPhone version. They all want you to back up to them too. So check them. Which ones are on? Which ones are you using? Which ones are you paying for that you don't really need to? Because it's not just about the data, paying VVR to let you upload through the satellite. You're also paying for your storage. So you need to be thoughtful about which ones you're choosing, which ones you're using, and do you really need more than one? So you're going to have a backup on your phone. You can lose your phone, lose all your photos, but if you have one of these, they're backed up somewhere. And you can also download them to your computer. So what do? I don't use any of them. I don't even use OneDrive for my photos. What I do is plug the USB cable in from my computer and say, sweep all those out. That's free.
What do you sweep to?
To my computer.
From your phone. Okay.
Yes. Oh, an audience member asked a question without a microphone. So what next? Oh, that was it. Gosh, that was quick. So I used less than half an hour, but I figured there'd be a lot of questions. So, raise your hand if you have a question. Sharon will run up to you with the microphone. The lady in front, what was your name again?
You showed an app to turn off your computer's data connection. Can't you just turn off Wi-Fi?
Can you just turn off Wi-Fi? Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of a pain. You can go into airplane mode. You can
on the computer.
Yes.
On the computer, it's just Wi-Fi on or Wi-Fi off.
Right.
Okay.
You can, but the computer has airplane mode too. Most of them do. Most of the laptops, at least.
Really?
Yeah.
Airplane mode does not turn off Wi-Fi. It turns off cellular.
So
Yeah.
somebody just said airplane mode doesn't turn off Wi-Fi. It does by default. If you turn it back on while you're in airplane mode, it will remember that and it will not turn off your Wi-Fi. Because on planes they have Wi-Fi now a lot of times. So people that are traveling, they want to get some work done in their seat. They're in airplane mode, so their computer's not doing things it's not supposed to. But if you turn on the Wi-Fi so you can get online, it will remember that. Somebody in the back there.
Considering that WhatsApp has become a pretty much commonplace means of communication, have you tried to estimate what its bandwidth utilization is when you consider the total population on ship? And
it's high, especially if you share photos of it, because out of the box, in other words, by default, WhatsApp will download all pictures onto your phone, and if you also have WhatsApp on your computer, also will download pictures onto your computer. By default, it will download them. So number one, try not to send photos on WhatsApp, because everyone that received that photo, whether they want to look at it or not, gets it downloaded. That takes a lot of data. And number two, if you really need to send a photo, the smaller the better.
What would it take to do a reasonable estimate of what its utilization is?
So if you're talking about your phone, there are apps that are kind of like what I was doing with, oh, that was after this. Come on. I went the wrong way. There are apps, no, that's not what I was actually looking for. I was looking for the Windows screen that showed how much data I was using. And it would also break down what it's using per app. There are apps you can get for your phone that will not only give you a total amount of data that you've used in whatever period. You can set what is your planned renewal time. For Starlink, it is the 1st of the month. I'll get to you in just a second, Frank. And so you can tell it, restart it on the 1st every month, and it will show you how much your different programs are using. And everybody's going to be different, because everybody's going to have a different set of WhatsApp groups that they're paying attention to, that they're connected to or subscribed to, however you want to say that. Frank.
I was just going to add that when we lived in an RV for years, for a long time we only had 20 gigabytes a month. So we were very interested in limiting how much data we had. On Android phones, under the network thing, and then there's buttons, and I didn't bring my phone with me, so I can't go exactly. Chris is going to tell you exactly how to do it, but it goes through exactly the kind of list that Randy showed, showing what used how much per month, per billing period is how we always dealt with it. But I think you can show it per month or last 30 days or whatever. Like I said, we were more worried about how much data we have until this billing period came up. And you can go through it really fast. Photos are one thing, but streaming video kills you. Really kills you.
Which is why I was saying that if you're streaming, you definitely want to cut down on your resolution, because that will dramatically cut down on your usage.
Well.
Great presentation, Randy. Thank you. I do want to mention on an iPhone in the last few OS versions, they do have capability to tell you how much you're using per app, so you can see what apps are doing a lot. It's
Excellent.
Amazing how much things like Facebook in the background,
Yes.
it's always updating and you forget about that. I do believe, I'll have to double check, I didn't bring my iPhone with me because it's charging after all day. But I believe you may have to reset it to get the count back to 0. That's the only thing on that. Yeah, and but it'll at least tell you what's using up all your data, and that's helpful.
Right.
The other thing I was going to mention is I think most of the streaming devices that people are using, Fire Sticks, I know at least Apple TV, you can set a default resolution level in the device rather than per app. So you have to go to the little geared setting and go in, and I think you can set a default resolution. I know on ours we set it to 480p, so I think
and that's good enough, right?
It's great. Well, I mean, it's not, if I had a 4K TV in my room, it'd be, disappointing. But I mean, I'm willing to give it up to help, keep the bandwidth.
Especially with the TVs we
Absolutely.
have here.
Yeah, those are only 1080p TVs. So, thank you.
Okay, on an Android phone, I can look up my WhatsApp and see that I've used 500 megabytes from August 21 to September 18, so that's almost a month, and that's only half a gigabyte. But I do not automatically download images.
Yes, I turn mine off too.
That is a setting in WhatsApp. Now I do download a few. If you want to see an image and you tap on it, you see the little circle fill in that it's being downloaded. But if all of your photos are downloading automatically, and that is a setting in WhatsApp.
Yeah, and that is the default download. So I turn that off.
I think so, yeah.
And so when somebody sends a photo, and you open that chat, you'll see there's a photo there, but it's really blurry because it's just a quickie outline. And if you really do want to see it, you just touch the photo and it downloads it.
But if you
So
want to
it's
see,
not like you're giving it up.
yeah, if you want to see your data usage on an Android, at least this is a Samsung. Other Androids may be slightly different, but you just go into settings, connections, and then there's data usage. And there's both mobile data usage and Wi-Fi data usage. So if you're worried about what you're using from the ship, you have to look at Wi-Fi data usage. When you tap on there and scroll down, it'll show you every app and what it's using.
Okay, and my Google Pixel does not have a connections. It has network and internet. Maybe it's buried under there. But
It is. It has the same thing.
yeah, I'm sure it does.
I'm 90% sure.
Yeah, it's probably not a Samsung only option, but I have not found it on my phone.
Well, that brings up another point, Randy, that we're only talking Wi-Fi here and needing to save bandwidth on the Wi-Fi. Now, I typically, when we're in port and I have a good 5G or 4G LTE connection, I'll get off the ship's Wi-Fi and I'll use the cellular data that I'm already paying for.
Right.
I happen to have unlimited data, and many people do. Now, if you're paying for that data, that's a different story, you know, especially if you have a low plan. But when I'm in port, I tend to get off of the Wi-Fi that's on the ship, and I do all of my updating and things like that on the cellular network, and a lot of times it's faster. This past week, a lot of us have had huge problems with the Wi-Fi.
Yes.
I have not had those problems with the cellular. So that's another way that you can save bandwidth.
If you happen to have a phone plan that you're paying for, you may as well use it. Yes, absolutely.
So that's a good way to get off of that.
And we are in port most of the time.
A lot.
And when we're moving, usually we're asleep for most of that time.
True.
I don't see it.
It's a Pixel.
Yeah, I don't see data usage on the Pixel.
Hey Randy, I am an iPhone user, and for the other iPhone users, if you go to your settings and go to Wi-Fi and click on any wireless access point that you're connected to, there's something called low data mode. What that will allow you to do is turn off the automatic synchronization of data to the cloud, automatic updating of apps, and anything else that happens in the background. The thing to know though is that it is specific to a network. So if you're connecting to Odyssey Residents, you have to click on it and select low data mode. Then when you go to your cabin and connect to your TV access point, you have to select that one and also turn it on low data mode. But that will limit the arbitrary and unseen usage of Wi-Fi data that you don't even know is happening because it's all happening in the background.
Right.
Go to settings, Wi-Fi, and click on the network that you happen to be connected to, and you'll see low data mode. Turn it on.
Do you have to do that every time?
You shouldn't have to do that every time.
Okay.
But for every network.
Right.
Okay.
And then like the Geeks on Tour folks do, when I go ashore, I have a global unlimited data plan. I just turn on my cellular, and that's when I do all my updates. That's when I sync my photos and videos to the cloud, and I'm already paying for that plan. It's unlimited, so I'm not using the ship's Wi-Fi to consume all that data when I could be doing it on a cellular network.
Yeah, very good.
Hi, I have a Frameo picture frame that my daughter sends pictures I keep it offline, but every now and then I turn it online and download the pictures to it.
That's
Is
the
that
best
a
way to do
problem?
it. No, that's the best way to do it. So it does have a memory, unlike the Google and Amazon devices. That has some number of gigabytes that you can load up to it, and then it doesn't keep on streaming, and turning it off makes sure of it.
Yeah, cool.
Hold on a second.
Hey Google speakers, or the Alexa speakers, are those eating it up?
Yeah, are the Alexa speakers eating up data? Yes.
She said, hey.
I don't know what their rates are and how much it builds up over time, but it's doing a lot of back and forth.
Should you unplug them when you're not using them for music, or?
Yeah.
Ideally.
Ideally.
And up front here, Sharon. Thanks for being patient with the microphone, because that's the only way the video picks it up. And it's hard for me to hear anyway, so.
I have a picture frame also. My picture frame is set at home in my apartment on the Wi-Fi over there. And so I send my pictures periodically to that frame from pictures I take here on the ship. I send them over there. So I'm hearing, I just looked at the app data, and the frames are staggering compared to everything else on there. They're high data. So I'm thinking that doing that while I'm in port and using my phone plan would be the way to do that. I can't tell whether it's, I don't know how to tell.
So is it one of the Google frames, or?
No, one of them is called AIMOR, A-I-M-O-R. It's
Okay,
what
don't
she
know that one.
described,
Okay,
a
yeah.
picture frame.
Usually they don't stream, and if they do, they're streaming from a server somewhere. So like the Google Desk device, you can actually set it up to stream from an album on your Google Photos, and then we'll just download those and run through those. We did that at home, but that's when we had, unlimited internet at home. We don't have that anymore, so we're not even attempting that.
So I guess I'm trying to figure out, I'm looking at what it says the data is that's used here. How do I tell whether I'm using that on like the mobile network or the Wi-Fi?
And that's getting into the weeds that I don't know specifics about that app and how that works.
I mean, I think your idea of backing up the photos is a really good one. I have a hard drive where I back things up for the same reason. But if you want to really limit how much is streaming, go through your photos before you back them up. Get rid of all those duds. Instead of taking 5 photos and keeping all 5, find the one that's actually the best and keep that one. That'll cut down on it, because it's not about eliminating data usage, right? The whole point is to having internet is to be able to use it. And storing your photos so other people can see it is important to people, right? And so doing it smartly, doing it with better concern about how much data it actually uses is what Randy's really trying to emphasize, and I think it should be the take-home message. Realize what we're using, how much we're using, and where you can cut back without actually impacting your life significantly. Not doing any streaming, you might hate that idea, right? Not backing up your photos, terrible idea if you want to share them with family. But doing it smartly, so that you have what you want done, but not all the other crud, that's the way to go about it.
And that's basically my message, as he did say. I mean, I'm not saying don't use the internet, absolutely not. But you don't need to back up to 4 different photo backup services. And you don't need to pay for 4 backup photo services. Choose one. And upload to that. And one of the nice things about Google Photos is that you can share those albums. You can have an album of your favorite pictures from your time on the Odyssey. It's like, this is a great picture. Put it in that album. Automatically uploads and can be shared with your whole family, whatever. And you only upload it once.
Here's your dollar.
And they, pay me later. You only upload it once, and they can download it as many times as they want. They can put it on their picture frame there and cycle through it because they probably have unlimited internet. We don't. John.
Randy, you've been saying that you can back up your photos to the cloud. I just want to reiterate, and maybe Chris can explain again. For iPhones, it's not a backup on iCloud. I'll let her explain that.
So does it pull it off your phone when you put it on the cloud? Well, that'd be scary.
No, what John is talking about is that iCloud's purpose is synchronizing amongst all of your Apple devices. If you delete from one, it deletes from all. Therefore, it's not a backup. You cannot delete a photo from your phone and still keep it in the cloud. And that's a major difference between iCloud, Apple, and Google. With Google,
read, divide, and print.
right.
The
With
bottom line.
Google, the cloud is the end result. Everything goes to the cloud. Once it's there, Google couldn't care less if it exists anywhere else.
So you can delete it from your phone and it will still
And
stay
it's still
there.
be in the cloud.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas iCloud, Apple, if you delete it from your phone, it's gone.
Yeah.
Period.
And I do the suggestion too is that, you know, I'll take 5 photos just to make sure I get it, and one of them will be crooked, one of them will be out of focus. Delete those.
Yeah.
No sense in backing those up.
Right.
Any others? Oh, all of a sudden we got a lot of hands up.
Okay, I want to change devices because just sitting here, my smartwatch keeps buzzing me and I'm on the networks here. So I now need to focus on my settings on my smartwatch.
I didn't even think about those. But yes, they can use data too.
Sharon's getting a workout
Sharon's
today.
getting her steps tonight.
I was just going to say, I mean, one thing we didn't touch on is, I know with our TV situation in the rooms and so forth, a lot of people are streaming news programs because it's the only way we can get television news programs. If you are going to do that, one thing, and I've seen this posted probably on WhatsApp and Circle too, but if you leave the room to go to dinner, don't leave your streaming service running while you get dinner and things.
Yes,
Use
that
it when
will
you need
continue
it.
to use
Yeah,
data.
it just eats
Absolutely.
up data. So one little thing I just wanted to throw in there.
Good point.
Good point.
We still have a few minutes even.
2 questions. Getting back to the windows, I've always closed my lid. I'm sure some things are going on in the background, but some aren't, and I wonder what is happening.
It
with the
depends
windows.
on how you have your computer set as to what happens when you close the lid. If it's sleep, it can still be working.
Working, yeah. So
And
it's not
yes,
a general
it can
answer.
still download, it can do Windows updates, it can reboot, which pisses me the hell off every time it happens.
Wow.
Because I actually hibernate mine, and supposedly the computer goes off when you hibernate, but I've come in the morning and found it on. So
Wow.
now, when I shut down my computer, I use this and say disable the internet so it can't do an update overnight.
So, and the other question was, like if we're doing streaming, is there a difference in bandwidth used between either a Windows laptop or the Apple devices?
I don't know the
One
answer to
better
that.
than the other.
There is. Depends on the resolution.
I
Yeah, keep low res.
It's still the same, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if the devices themselves have any inherent differences in how much, but yes, it comes down to the resolution of the video.
If I'm logged on to Odyssey Residents, is that gonna log my data usage versus being in my room and using my own TV internet?
Right now, they are not. I should back up a little bit. I don't think they are monitoring us on an individual level. They are certainly paying attention to the amount of data we're using. And the peak that I heard in 1 month was 70 terabytes.
Second, if I'm in my cabin and I can watch, I have a Fire Stick, if I can watch a YouTube video on my television versus my iPad versus my phone, is there any difference in the amount of data I'm using?
If they're all in the same resolution, it should be approximately the same. And I don't know how, if on your Fire Stick, there should be a way to set and say you only want it 480K. When I'm watching a cooking show, it doesn't matter. I think even if I was watching a Hollywood blockbuster on my phone, which I do not want to do because that's a pain, if I ran it at 480K, I would probably not notice on my phone. John? No. Yes?
Talking to Mac users, Mac or Apple is doing the latest update in the next couple of days.
Yes.
Each update will be a minimum of 1 gig, if you're going to update. And the truth is that don't update if you rely on your equipment at the moment. Do it after a 0.1 update. Wait till everyone else has updated, find all the problems, wait for Apple to do the next update, and wait, or possibly, if you can, wait a month, because they'll clear all the problems, because they'll always find problems. So go off the ship and update if you need to, but not on the ship.
Yeah, and there's this same guy that did this little app. I just downloaded one that stops Windows from doing updates, because you cannot turn off Windows updates. Like, you can't say, no, wait a month. I mean, you can sort of do it, but you have to be really on top of it, and it's a pain, and it really angers me that, you know, it's trying to download a backup when we're on the backup satellite, which is really, really slow. And I don't want to impact the rest of the ship by having my computer trying to update.
One way you can cheat for the Windows is if you select a metered data plan for a particular network, it will restrict the number of updates and background things that it sends to Microsoft.
Which is the same thing she was saying over here about...
people realize that if you're on a plan where you're paying per gigabyte for some of these things,
which we eventually will be.
We are now, but if even in like I said, we were dealing with this on a cell phone where that was our only internet connection. So we wanted to keep things from updating without our knowing about it. Otherwise, you can lose 10 gig. You have 2 devices, Windows devices, 3 or 4 gigs each. You just lost almost half of your monthly data allotment overnight.
Yeah,
and
when you could have gone into a trailer park somewhere for the night and used their Wi-Fi to do that.
Sometimes that would be a bad blessing,
good
but again, there are ways to cheat, and every device has their own different ways of getting around some of these things. And none of us can know every device or every program or every thing that's using data. But when you're monitoring what you're using and how much data, you can cut it down without really huge quality impairments. Like, I don't use 480, I use 720 instead. Same idea that you're limiting the resolution. I noticed the difference. 720 is DVD quality,
720
which is
good, yeah.
pretty reasonable.
480 can get blurry.
Yeah. Anyone else?
What's a DVD?
US DVDs are only for 80.
Really? Really? I thought they were 720.
US DVDs are 480p. European DVDs are
512.
640. I can't remember.
I thought they were 512 or 580.
Yeah.
The PAL standard.
Yeah, it's more than the American standard, but it's less than 720p.
Right.
I think.
Of course, then you have Blu-ray and 4K and 8K and.
But with the for the 3-inch TVs that we have in cabins, 720p is definitely enough. I don't think any of us, most of us are not young, so we can't see the difference. And on a phone, we definitely can't. I mean, even
Right, on a phone,
bigger
480
phone,
is good
seeing the difference between 480p and anything more than that is not for us.
All right, so do we have another question? Yes, we do, in the back. Comment. Then I have one more comment.
Both Lori and I each have a phone, a pad, and a computer. And if you have unlimited data, you know, that's a luxury that doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
But when you think about how many things do automatic updates, I think that for us at least, that's going to be a luxury we can't afford.
Maybe that. So my last comment was that now that we're probably well over 12 miles offshore, we're back on Starlink.
Yay!
And now you can all rush back to your cabins or office and have speed. And notice I'm not standing near the door because I didn't want to get trampled. All right, well, thanks everybody. Great questions.
Great topic. Good job.
I'll turn the stage back over to Kit because I'm sure she has information about the next one.